Hello, Jordan Jenkins.
It's me. It's Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm ready to grunt and splunt.
Oh, you're finally ready to fucking crunt?
Ready to grunt.
Fucking took you long enough, dude.
Nobody is readier to grunt than me at this exact moment.
Nobody?
Nobody.
That's quite the claim.
I'm gonna look up grunt real quick to make sure I'm not saying something deeply offensive.
Oh, well, it's definitely plausible.
Grunt. It's Romanian.
Okay.
It means bloody, inhuman, terrible, awful, dreadful, or cruel, brutal, and violent.
Huh. So
Also,
in a way, you were saying something awful, just not in the way you feared.
Yeah. And in Scots, it's a blow to the head.
Huh.
Scots.
Scots.
Scots is apparently a language.
Yeah, well,
Scots.
despite what England would hope.
Oh, great. Now I'm looking at the Urban Dictionary, and
You can't do that. That's a surefire way to get canceled.
it's apparently offensive.
To whom?
Women.
To women.
But like, it's got like 20 votes, so I assume that this is just something that somebody had meant something, and just everyone else just kind of ran with it.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like the kind of thing that is legitimately on Urban Dictionary, you know?
Yeah. So I'm just going to assume it's fine, and that we can continue to say grunt.
I think you're good to continue the crunt. Oh wow, low rank monsters have no health.
Good. So, time to grunt.
Time to crunt. I'm always saying it. I'm always talking about crunt time.
Yeah, everyone talk about grunt time, and I'm now ready for grunt time. You can call me Mr. Grunt.
They call me Mr. Crunt.
Or grunt.
In the Heat of the Night, 1988. That's not when that movie came out at all.
I thought it was older than that, but
I was gonna say 60-something, but then I'm like, that seems wrong. No, 1967.
1967? Alright.
I watched that in some sort of class in high school, and I was like, this is rather good.
Good? I mean, good.
I knew the They Call Me Mr. Tibbs thing because of watching media as a child, but when I saw where it came from, and I'm like, this is good.
Yeah.
Based on John Ball's 1965 novel of the same name. Wow, they got a film turned around on that fast.
We used to do that with books. One of the recent videos we talked about the Slaughterhouse-Five movie, which came out I think just 3 or 4 years after the book was released.
Yeah.
And I will repeat what I said in that video, which is that if that movie wasn't adapted immediately, I absolutely would have called that movie unadaptable. Or that book unadaptable.
Yeah, which I think is a pretty fair thing to say.
It definitely feels like it should be unadaptable, but hey, there's already an adaptation. There's an adaptation pretty much immediately, and that adaptation is very good.
Yeah, I should watch that. I should probably watch that.
I would say that, obviously Slaughterhouse-Five is, transcendently good, so, that movie is maybe not on that level, but I think it is a very good movie, and again, it is a very good adaptation, which is what is so surprising about it.
Is this a high rank Magnamalo? Is this a high rank Magnamalo thing that I need? No. I think I got the 3% chance of not getting a Magnamalo horn when I broke its head.
Interesting.
Are you kidding me, Derek? I just told you. What? That's absurd. I guess I have to fight a low rank Magnamalo again. I have. Well, I guess I don't have the materials to make it in G rank yet because I'm missing a tiny bit, but I have it all the way to get to the damn doorstep. That's upsetting. That's some Monster Hunter ass Monster Hunter right there.
Yeah, definitely.
The one time in all of Monster Hunter Rise that I get the 3% chance, and it's the bad kind.
Yeah.
Whatever. That took me like 18 seconds.
Do it again.
Let's do it again.
Hey, what are good skills for bowgun?
I feel like it probably depends on what kind of bowgun you're going to use.
All right.
But pretty much any skill that increases the potency of status will help a lot if you are going for a status bow, which is a good kind of bowgun.
All right. Let me see what kind of bowgun mine is. There's got normal, pierce, paralysis, exhaust, slicing, and trank.
Let me. What's the best place to look for skills?
I don't know.
I guess manage equipment, change equipment, select something, equipment search by skills. Okay. The critical eye, critical boost, critical element, those can all be, well, element not really, but critical eye, critical boost, those could both be useful. Peak performance, because you don't really want to get hit as a bow gun, is very nice. Spare shot can be good in situations. I forget what Mind's Eye does, but I feel like that's probably a good one. Tim is going to be losing his mind when he listens to this in the future because he's going to realize I actually don't know dick about Monster Hunter skills still somehow.
Yeah.
No,
well, I know less.
Never mind. Mind's Eye is the one that prevents you from bouncing as much.
All right.
Now that I say that, I remember that. There are like specific ammo skills. Like if you have a gun that rapids a lot of different, like 2 pierce types, like pierce 2 and 3, pierce up would be really good because then each shot that rapid fires does even more damage. So that's really nice. Artillery is basically... That's... Also, there have been tweaks to these things over time, because artillery, yeah, it's explosive attacks, so, like, if you have that kind the ammo that what explodes, that'll be stronger, but that's, again, more of a niche thing. Rapid fire up increases your rapid fires. I don't know how much, but I imagine it's useful because rapid fire is really nice. Evasion stuff is useful to get out of there when suddenly someone targets you. I did plenty of evasion stuff before. Hello, Wave Matthews.
Gentlemen.
Mental Jun.
All right, I just got a crit element that I'm gonna just roll with.
Sure. Basically, it turns out that the good skills for bowgun are the skills that specifically say, like, bowgun specific thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cat.
Yeah, just make the Rock and Kadaki stuff and you'll be fine. It's pretty much bow gunman.
Bow gunman.
Yeah, that'll be the next thing I make. Is the Arachne Kadaki.
Kadaki.
I have to take a picture of my Switch screen.
I'm gonna send in Discord an image of the drink that I bought from the alcohol place today, the liquor store, because it was pure like the marketing people for this place. They just got me. They were like, "We have created an image to put on a can of alcohol that will immediately get Christopher Cranston to buy it."
Yeah,
Yeah,
seems about right.
yeah. So
Hey, Terre Haute Brewing Company.
yeah,
I am aware of this place. I had their meal, and it was pretty good.
I'm going to crack this open and pour it in my Yub Nub Tall Boy glass that I bought from the Disney World.
Post a picture of that Yub Nub tall glass.
I can post a picture of that Yub Nub Tall glass. The pictures have been taken. The pictures are going to be posted. Yub, nub, yub, nub. Yub, nub? Yub, nub? Oh god, now everyone's gonna think I was lying about... Oh, thank god. It's
Yeah,
like
it's nice
it's like really fucking heavy. It's like it's a really hardy and pretty cool thing, actually.
Is it like is it made from like what's the stuff that tiki mugs are usually made from? Like
It feels like almost ceramic-y.
yeah, ceramic is what those kind of mugs are usually made from.
Yeah.
And so if it's like that, it probably is ceramic.
Yeah, and like I figured, okay, for the price of the drink I got this in plus this, I feel like it was a decent deal because, like, say $10 for a nice, fairly large drink and like 25-ish for a mug, sure.
So it was $35 total.
35 or 40, something like that. Like, it wasn't that bad.
Considering you had to keep the mug, I would be pretty fine with that transaction.
Yeah, yeah. For the most part, I was surprised at a lot of the prices in the Disney World, where I was like, this is actually just kind of just a price.
Yeah.
I don't think there's too much head on this pour, so I don't know actually if this glass will fit the full tall boy. I imagine it should without difficulty, but what's everyone else's life been like?
Not much.
Yeah.
This week is our actual back at school. Not with kids yet, but
Thank God, no.
days.
Kids, could you imagine? In a
Never.
school?
So I'm figuring out how to be a music teacher.
Just watch Whiplash and then you're good.
Throwing cymbals at kids' heads.
Yeah.
At middle school children's
Yeah,
heads.
it's symbolic.
No, it's a good movie because it has pain.
That's
What a-
true. Only the best movies have pain.
And J.K. Simmons, why can't you just be in normal movies?
Spider-Man 2.
Well, that's normal-ish, I guess.
Spider-Man 3?
No, that's not normal. Anyway, not my tempo.
Not your tempo. It's me, J, not my tempo.
Not my tempo.
Not my temp. Not my tempo. Wow, this pour was like 30% just head. What the hell? What, do I just not know how to pour drinks? It's possible.
That makes sense to me.
Likely.
I mean, I suppose I do, like, it's not like I'm pouring beer into glasses much because I'm just like, I will have this can of alcohol. Because what kind of fucking nerd pours stuff into glasses?
Yeah.
How's it going in bowgun world land?
I'm, making progress.
Yeah, are you stuck in menu hell?
Yeah. How do you acquire catalysts?
You can craft them, screamers, and... Ah, shit, what is it? Screamers and...
It's bitterbug and honey.
Bitterbug and honey? Oh, and then... Fuck, then what do you combine screamers with? Do you combine screamers and catalyst to get something? What am I...
Oh no. I accidentally just wasted all of my bitterbugs.
Oh, yeah. You gotta have a lot of those. Catalyst.
Yeah. So now I need to... You guys go on your... Like, what did you put up?
Oh, yeah, no, it's low rank. I was just about to say we should go. What was I?
Yeah, you and Duncan can do it. I'm... Obviously...
Oh. It's a what?
It's a low rank boy.
Yeah, I broke this thing's head on my own in the last hunt and got the 3% chance that I wouldn't get a fucking Magnamalo horn.
Sounds about right.
Unless I needed 2 and I only got 1 and didn't pay attention, but... So Jordan, you weren't too fond of Thor: Love and Thunder?
No, I was not. Honestly, the more I've thought about it, the more I've soured on it.
That's understandable.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I really liked some of it. I just think it was... I thought the tonal differences were way too bad to overcome.
They were severe.
And I don't know. It's clear that, like, there was no interest in balancing the tone, which is, unfortunate, but...
Yeah, it was like it was clearly a decision that was made.
Yeah. And, like, I guess I get it, but by about halfway through the movie, I just wasn't finding it very funny in general. And, like, I could probably forgive it if I found the humor funny. But, like, I also assume that, like, part of the reason I didn't find the humor funny was because I found the tonal issues, so...
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I didn't expect this, personally, but, like, I kept laughing as those goats kept screaming.
The goat screams are fine. I don't know. I found the God City to be really bad, honestly.
Oh, you didn't like the nonsense in the form of Zeus?
I suspect that, like, if you had just cut out that entire scene and put it in Ragnarok, I would have found it pretty funny. And it's just the context of the movie. Because, like, it's just, like, I think going from, like, I don't know, I would need to watch Ragnarok and then Love and Thunder right next to each other, I think, to, like, evaluate whether I thought the movie was, like, whether I would like the humor in a different movie or if I just thought the humor wasn't very good.
I suspect it's just you didn't think the humor was very good because it was, like, pretty distinct from Ragnarok. Like,
all right.
Like, all of the deliveries were, like, much faster and, like, there was more, like dead air. I feel like it was purposefully more stilted. Whereas Ragnarok was more just like, traditional modern comedy pacing and deliveries.
1 second, I'll be right.
He's dead.
That's unfortunate.
I know, I rather liked the fellow.
I'm back.
Thor yet.
All right. Well, I guess so. You were saying that you think it's pretty fundamentally different from Ragnarok. I believe you. I'm not really sure. And I thought it was funny at the beginning. I liked the time with the Guardians, that first scene.
Oh, I didn't
like
really, but I'm glad it was just that one.
Yeah, and like I like that first scene. I liked when it kind of moved to like right at the beginning. Like I thought his conversation with Sif was pretty funny, and that was probably the high point of comedy for me. Honestly, I thought it
The
kind of
Sif
started
bit,
falling off at
I
that
thought
point.
the Sif bit was good. That's when I was like, okay, they are clearly like doing something. Except like they're not doing the gore thing. They have gore in here, but it's a movie that is not interested in engaging.
Yeah, and I think that's too bad because I thought the gore stuff was head and shoulders above everything else in the movie. I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
And
I mean, yeah, the gore stuff was very good, serious superhero stuff. It was just, I don't know, like what, 30% of the movie, maybe?
yeah, and I think that's the problem. I don't know. I try not to judge it too much by like the movie that it could have been, as opposed to like what it was. But I just feel like why even have those bits if you're just gonna like be like a goofy comedy through the rest of it?
Sure.
Like, why not just make a goofy comedy? I think I would have liked the movie a lot more if it was just like Ragnarok Part 2. And
It's because someone, like fucking Kevin Feige said, we have to introduce the Necro Sword
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
and make it a literal sword instead of just like weird space goop.
Yeah. Side note, I gotta say, I was not like crazy about the gore stuff in the comics, but I gotta say, it is some of the best comic book names that have ever been made.
Yeah.
Gore the God Butcher.
Gore the
Black
God Butcher
Necro
is
Sword.
really good.
Like those are just like peak comic book names, and they're really good. Like I gotta hand it to them. They definitely hit the nail on the head with like those two at least.
I liked the introduction of the Necro Sword much better in the comics.
Yes, I did not care for it in that one. It was very on the nose.
Yeah.
In a way that I did not care for. But also, like the movie had, it's one of those like economy of storytelling things where I just kind of got to shrug my shoulders and be like, yeah, sometimes that's just how it goes. Where, like the movie really couldn't devote more than like 2 minutes to like introducing gore. And maybe they could have done a bit more, but like I don't think that would have been fundamentally different, even if the movie was 100% about gore.
I would have liked it as like a mini series where like the entire first episode is just very introduction of gore. His entire like spent a lot of time with like the rest of his people very into religion and him like starting to doubt blah blah blah.
Yeah, that would have been better, and that's how the comic went, which was why it was good. But
Yeah.
obviously, if you're going to put him in a movie, you can't spend too much time on it. You kind of just gotta keep moving. So
Yeah.
I didn't hate that. It was a bit on the nose in a way that was like not great, but it was just kind of sometimes you just kind of gotta shrug your shoulders. Like, yeah, that's how it is in movies. Just kind of gotta go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I realized that, I was just like, okay, I understand and I accept.
Yeah, but the rest of the gore stuff I thought was really good, and Christian Bale was really good. But
Christian Bale is a little
know.
freak like always.
yeah, he was probably the perfect casting for gore. Like he was extremely good at doing like that menacing sort of thing.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so I wasn't crazy about it. I don't know. I wanted to like it, and I kind of went in with sort of like medium expectations, and just didn't really work for me overall. And like I said, I even when it was like funny, I just wasn't really laughing with it. I don't know. Did not care for Zeus.
I liked
too
the
bad.
bit at the very like near the very end where he does like all of the fucking flippy shit with his thunderbolt and then just goes no and walks away.
Yeah, that part was good, and then I don't know, like there's the bit with like Korg's God that was just like really not funny, and I don't know, it's just like we're gonna do a City of the Gods, and then we're gonna spend 10 minutes here and tell a bunch of bad jokes, and then there's gonna be a bad fight scene, and then we need to draw that because we needed the Thunderbolt. But yeah, I think fundamentally my issue with the movie was that I just couldn't get over the tone issues. Like, I just found it way too awkward where you had one scene where Gore was like psychologically torturing children, and then the next scene there was like awkward relationship humor where like Thor's dating his hammer.
Oh
And
my god.
couldn't get over it.
I don't know. I really liked the personification of the weapons that hit for me.
I think if it was just right at the beginning, it would have been fine, but they sort of ran into the ground. By the end of it, I was really tired of it. And again, probably part of the issue here is that I was just like, come on, get back to the good part. I want to see gore.
Oh my god, I'm still one scoot short. What the fuck?
Nice.
I'm being Monster Huntered right now.
Yes.
You certainly are.
On a low rank Magnum Aloe. I don't even have the G rank stuff yet. Like, I'm gonna have to fight more Magnum Aloes. Hey Duncan, did you say you hadn't seen it, and so did we just ruin the movie for you?
Not really.
Okay, good.
I mean, it's been a really long time since I cared about anything Marvel anyway.
Yeah.
Exceptionally fair. Like, overwhelmingly fair.
Yeah, and I've been kind of waiting for one of these movies to just kind of like fall on its face, and I think this one was the one that kind of did it for me, unfortunately.
I don't know, I'm sure it's still funny and whatever.
It wasn't Eternals for you? Eternals wasn't the one that fell on its face?
I don't know. Eternals was like... Yeah, I guess it was Eternals. Here's where I'll say something. I was kind of drunk when I saw Eternals, so I guess I just don't really ever think about it.
It's just gone in your memory.
Yeah. I think that might be part of why... And I have to give Eternals, like... I think there was an attempt at something with Eternals that, like, just did not work out.
Yeah, there was definitely an attempt.
Yes, there was an attempt. In the way that, like, I don't know. I guess Eternals would be the first, like, post-Endgame dud.
Black Widow.
Here's why I can't hate Black Widow. It was the first movie I had seen out of quarantine. Like, I hadn't seen a movie in, like, a year and a half. It was like one of the first things I did. Like, it was like I saw that movie pretty much 2 weeks to the day after I got my second shot, and so I was just so happy to be back in a movie theater that, like, the fact that Black Widow is objectively a pretty bad movie, I just have way too much emotion tied up to it.
The first thing you did 2 weeks after your shot was you went to see Black Widow in a theater?
I just wanted to go to a movie really bad, and that was the one that was playing. Well, I'm being a little bit like jokey. It was probably like a day or two after, but it was like that was like kind of like the first point where I was just like, yes, I can finally go do things in public again.
My man's was counting down the minutes. He's just like, I know the exact minute that I got my shot. 2 weeks to the minute. I'm going to the closest showing of Black Widow.
Look, I'm not saying I'm proud of it. I'm just saying that was kind of how things worked out. That was what I was able to do at that moment.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Like,
I just think it's
other
funny.
movies playing. No, it is, and like that's kind of my position with Black Widow, where it's just like I can't separate the emotions, so I end up liking Black Widow, even though I know it's not very good. You just have those moments, you know, where like the context of the movie like makes it much more meaningful than it is.
They played Nirvana in slow motion in the movie itself.
Look, I already acknowledged that Black Widow's bad. You don't have to keep making the argument.
I know. I'm just always stunned when I think about most things about that movie. This guy's big. This guy's really big.
Yeah, I guess my question with Marvel is like, is it worse now, or am I just completely tired of it now? And I think it might just be that I'm completely tired of it.
There's definitely stuff that's worse.
Yeah, I think it's more that I'm tired of it. It's like all of my emotional build-up was tied up with Endgame, and it finally released with Endgame, and I'm just like, at this point, like, I don't have anything writing on these movies anymore. Like, I just don't care, like, about the overall plot at this point.
Also, I mean, there isn't an overall plot at this point, right? Like,
yeah, that's the other thing.
Like, Phase 1 was very clearly building to Avengers, and then they got to Ultron really quickly, and Guardians of the Galaxy happened, and then they were very quickly, very clearly building to Thanos.
Yeah.
And then after that, they're like, okay, we're gonna, like, let it breathe, for better or worse. And for most people, it seems like the response is, for worse.
I think most people are pretty, like... I can't say most people, because, like, Doctor Strange made, like, $1 billion. Doctor fucking Strange. Like...
Yeah, well, I mean, people really like Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi just did a superhero movie that was very well regarded.
I don't think that's true. I don't think people... Like, Sam Raimi has been out of the limelight for, like, 7 years at this point, at that point.
Didn't he do the Spider-Man, or was that someone else?
Well, that was someone else.
Oh, I thought they got him back with Toby.
No, I mean... that was somebody else. I don't know who. Then Sam Raimi's, like, a nerd... Like, a nerd's favorite director anyway. Like,
that's very true.
I don't think he's very main... Like, I think people know, like... Obviously people like Spider-Man, but, like... If you ask the average person who likes Spider-Man to name the director of Spider-Man, I don't think they'd actually know.
I don't know. I don't know. This is like in Star Wars prequel territory where there are a lot of fucking freaks.
You're not wrong.
And a lot of fucking freaks have changed the way people view those movies, for better or for worse.
Yeah. And I'm not necessarily saying that Raimi isn't, like... Or there aren't a lot of nerds. There are a lot of nerds who know him, but I'm just saying I think that he is kind of not... I don't think he's someone who's particularly well known by the mainstream.
That's perhaps
I've
true.
heard this name before.
Yeah, what's the... I don't know, he did a bunch of, like... He's done a lot of cult classic horror stuff, right? Like...
Yeah, he did the Evil Dead movies.
Yeah, that's the guy. And the other cult classic horror movie, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
A somewhat middling film.
I also was thinking about it, and I think part of the thing where you guys were like this movie a lot more than I did was I really like Taika Waititi, but I don't think I'm quite as in love with him as you and Tim are.
I mean, to be fair, I've only seen his 2 Thor movies and What We Do, and the show What We Do in the Shadows. So I like the idea of him, but I haven't watched much of him, all things considered. I haven't watched The Gay Pirates yet. I haven't seen the What We Do in the Shadows movie. I mean, I guess he hasn't done much more than those things, but still.
You should watch Jojo Rabbit.
Oh yeah, Jojo Rabbit, which I've heard a lot of good things about, but I've heard a few people be like, I don't know, people said this was really good and I didn't get it.
That's reasonable. I thought it was very good. All I will say.
Okay. I should find if there is a place to stream it. Which I imagine there is. Perhaps the Hulu. Okay, I think I need one goddamn scute from this thing. Scale? Shell? Scale. No, but I definitely think that Marvel post-Endgame has just been not great.
They've been treading water, and they don't have any... I'm sure they have ideas for what they're going to be doing for the next 5 years, but they decided they're going to take a breather and not jump right into another big overarching plot, and it's meant that there's not really a lot of emotional connection to these movies that people have. So they're actually, I think in general people are starting to kind of rate them on their merits as opposed to how it ties into some big giant thing they've been following for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, post Endgame, the movies are Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange, Thor: Love and Thunder. And I think the general consensus is that 2 of those are good, and one of them is good, but an origin story that did the fucking Marvel thing, so it's on thin ice.
Yeah. And from my view, Eternals isn't very good, and then if I didn't have,
Nope, no skew.
If I could be objective about Black Widow, I would say it wasn't very good, but...
Uh-huh.
The other 3 I thought were fine. I was, ready to, dislike them. I went in ready to dislike them, but I ended up liking all of them for whatever reason. So, for me, they're... I've been waiting for one to really kind of fall flat on its face, and unfortunately I think Thor is kind of the first one that's done it.
Yeah, Thor is like the culmination of people being like, I'm kind of tired of this, and they haven't had like a good string.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's like I think an issue is that all epic media is Disney. So like you can't get away from their brand of storytelling
Yeah.
Yeah,
in really big properties. Like, Star Wars used to be Lucasfilm, and whether or not you liked it better when it was or not, at least it was different than
It
Disney
was.
versions of Star Wars.
Yeah, it was definitely
And
Lucas's story.
and there used to be X-Men movies that weren't absolute dog shit. And there, used to be Sony Spider-Man movies that weren't absolute dog shit. And like, those were like other forms of superhero storytelling, but you can't get those anymore.
we have to break
Disney,
its back.
like, Disney's just taken everything and made it theirs. And like, they've just cornered the market. And it's like now every single Pixar movie / Disney animated movie, every Star Wars movie, every Marvel movie, and all the shows that come from all of them are all the same fucking thing. It's just like, oh, we want it to be funny, but also have a very generic message of some kind of something that makes everyone feel good and never worry about anything in the world ever.
Yeah, you're definitely right that like all big blockbusters feel really similar nowadays, minus like a few kind of random examples, and people freak out about those. Like, I don't know, like John Wick had its trailer, and people are like going crazy for it because it's at least something different.
Right. Is it? You still need more low ranks?
Yeah, we have to break its back. I know it's obnoxious.
Anyway, I'm almost done with like menu hell here. I'm just getting.
That's fine. Because I'm in Magna Mall hell.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Disney needs to be broken up, really. Like, at
Oh,
this point.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just too much of one thing. And again, it's like I don't really think the quality has actually gone down that much overall, but
Yeah.
it's just nothing in any way.
I would say the last string of multiple good movies in a row for Marvel was Spider-Man: Homecoming, Thor: Ragnarok, Black Panther, I think, which was
Correct.
5 years ago now.
Yeah, that was definitely the last string, and even like and all three of those were not good because they did anything different in terms of like any really kind of like storytelling. Ragnarok was good because it was funny. Homecoming was also good because it was funny, and then Black Panther was good because like culturally it hit well. But like, I mean, we all have to remember that still at the end of Black Panther, and Black Panther fought another Black Panther.
Yeah.
Like, that still fucking happened.
I don't know. I have never been one personally who minds and then you fight someone who has their same powers or whatever. Like, I'm like, yeah, that's just comic books. Like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and I know it is just comic books.
But like, I get why you're tired of that. Like, and that's something you've been saying since Black Panther came out 4 years ago.
Yeah, and even like I thought that Killmonger was probably their best villain. I thought that he had the most like morally ambiguous villain story. It wasn't just like, oh, this dude's bad. It was like, this guy maybe has a point, but is also bad, and like there was some complexity there, and that was a little bit refreshing. And then he just got the Black Panther suit and fought the Black Panther. I was like, okay, so we're doing that again. Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, that at least was like. Had,
Yeah,
like, a
but think of
thematic
how
resonance
cool.
to it.
Think of how fucking cool it was when fucking T'Challa came back and he said, "As you can see, I am not dead," and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, good moment."
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like in that movie. I'm certainly not gonna bash it, but
I'm just gonna wire bug at these things back the whole time.
but while yes, those movies were good, and none of them were new ideas. And
You could, I think you could argue that Thor Ragnarok is still one of the
Yeah.
most different.
yes, Thor Ragnarok for sure. Although it is very Guardians of the Galaxy in tone for sure.
Only it's actually funny. I don't know. I like Tim. Tim dislikes the Guardians more than me, but I've just like never been sold on them. In general,
Fair
I
enough.
don't really like Marvel's attempts at like sci-fi. Like some of the
Yeah,
cosmic stuff is cool, but that's more like eldritchy that for me than science fiction.
I think that the first Guardians of the Galaxy was really, really good, and that the second one was just a rehash of the first one.
Yeah,
Like, so it was still like good and funny or whatever, but not in a way that made me go like, yeah, that was awesome. You know, but I can't quite figure like the reason I say that it's probably because we're mostly tired of them is like I can't figure out why I hate all of Marvel now, but I really liked Ant-Man, you know? Like
Paul Rudd is incredibly charming.
right. I mean I get that, but like you know,
well,
but
the
what was
reason, Duncan,
essentially-
is that Ant-Man is one of their weakest movies.
Unsure. Don't listen to this non-believer. Also, it's because Ant-Man was going to be one of the first movies where it's like, okay, let's trust people outside of fucking Kevin Feige to do something. Like, it was going to be an Edgar Wright film, and then they were cowards and backed
They were
out.
cowards.
But you can still see the bones of it, and I think for the most part, it's still largely good.
Yeah, and I don't think it's bad, but I'm just saying it's like and like why I thought the first Doctor Strange was good and stuff. It's like I don't think I would now because they're the most generic Marvel movies that have ever existed. You know, it's just
I was never big on Doctor Strange. I don't know. Like, I was always just, this is too, like, white man savior for me. Which is just, you know, I understand why it is, because that's how it was in the fucking 40s or whatever, whenever Doctor Strange was introduced.
That's just most of comics are just white man savior.
It's either that or blaxploitation.
Don't you love when they threw the blaxploitation character and the white savior character together because they ran out of stuff to do with them?
You gotta. Are you talking about Iron Fist and Power Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back when they had like a comic together because they were both created a cultural moment that ended, and they're like, "What do we do with these guys? I don't know. Toss them together, see what happens."
Just stick
It
them
turned out to be
together.
good.
Will that make these people
Yeah.
happy?
And it turned out to be a pretty good comic book that like has defined their characters.
I still haven't watched that Netflix Iron Fist
And I never will.
or Luke Cage, honestly.
I think it was good.
So those two things are the opposites of each other. The Iron Fist is not in any way, shape, or form good until the end-ish of season 1, and then season 2 was like actually kind of good. The beginning of season 1 is just god awful. Luke Cage is the exact opposite. The first half of season 1 is incredible, and the ending is incredibly stupid.
People weren't fond of the Defenders either, were they?
I don't think so. I never saw that.
Not particularly. It was fine, but not like good. Like it was perfectly fine, like dialogue writing and like the characters were all fun and stuff, but the story itself was not really interesting.
Gotcha.
It was just hand builds big building. Oop, gotta go stop big building.
Gotta do the hand thing. Still, three seasons of it wasn't enough apparently.
Well, I mean, Defenders was essentially just a mini Daredevil season.
Hey, that's
And
what
in
I'm
that-
worried She-Hulk is going to be.
Like again, that's Marvel's other problem. Like we're down to fucking She-Hulk now.
Nah, She-Hulk has always been a pretty big player. Or not
Yeah.
always, but like since the 80s, She-Hulk was in the Fantastic Four for like 6 years.
Well, right, but only people who read comic books know that.
Yeah, I mean that's same thing with like Iron Man, right? Like only people who read comics knew what Iron Man's situation was, and he immediately became the guy.
But everybody knew him as like one of Marvel's big superheroes. You know, like
Yeah, he had some amount of cultural relevance.
just the fact that She-Hulk is just another hero with she in front of it is an indication that they're digging into deep comic book things.
Duncan, you're going like evil robot on this.
You're going evil robot because you disparage what's her name? Jessica Walters?
Yeah, I think so.
And also been the fighter jets flying above my house.
Oh, your voice got
that-
Krisp assisted suicide.
Yeah.